When you're in middle school, it's always school and you have a locker, whether it's a locker you use for your backpack, your books, or a locker you use for your PE clothes. It's always important to put the locks on those lockers so that either nobody takes your stuff, or it also can be part of your grade at your school, depending on what your school's rules are for locks on your locker. It's just really important so you don't have your stuff taken from the locker, because if you leave your locker unlocked, someone may get into your locker and get your stuff. I'm glad that my PE teacher caught this and let me know so that wouldn't happen again. Hi everybody, it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you didn't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoons sometimes, and today in this video I have another story time for you guys today. And today's story time is going to be the time I forgot to put my lock, excuse me. Sorry about that. Today's story is going to be the time I forgot to put my lock on my PE locker at school. And luckily none of my stuff got stolen, but I didn't realize that that was really important and it was part of my grade for PE class. So this is a story about how this one day I was in a hurry getting dressed for PE and I left my lock off my locker. And that PE teacher had caught it, and she told me that I had to put my lock on my locker because not only was it a safety hazard, but it was part of my grade as well. So this is a story and I was glad I learned from that. So this is a story just to teach you guys, you should always keep your locks on your lockers at school, whether if you're in the girls' locker room for PE or anywhere you have a locker at school. It's just important to keep a lock on it because someone can go in and take your stuff, and that's just really important to always keep your stuff safe. And you should always just make sure you put your lock in your locker because it's also part of it might be part of your grade for school. So just keep that in mind. You should always put locks on lockers at school or wherever you're at, so then your stuff doesn't get taken, and also the teachers want your stuff to be safe as well. So I'm going to get started, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So this all started about 19 years ago. I was in almost 19 years ago. I was in the 7th grade. And I was getting ready for PE class. I was kind of going as fast as I can because I had to go into the locker room first to go grab my key for my locker because I had to use a key for my locker. Everyone else had combination locks, and we tried a combination lock on me. That didn't work. I don't know why. It just took me forever to do my code on my combination on that lock, and it just never worked with me, and it would take me forever. So they switched me to a lock with a key, and I had my own special key for the lock. So I went into the locker room, grabbed my locker room key, and I unlocked the lock, and I rushed to get dressed because I don't have as much time to get to PE class as I want to get out before the bell rings. So I get all my clothes on. I get on my PE shirt and my PE shorts, and I go in, and then I didn't realize this, but I had left my lock on my locker, and I realized I have to run to the restroom. So I go to the restroom really fast, and then I walk outside of the restroom, and I leave the girls' locker room, and then all of a sudden the PE teacher who was in the locker room, and it was the female PE teacher who was in charge of the locker room, comes out and says,
"Mena, you forgot to put your lock on your big locker."
Quick backstory, when I was in middle school and I was taking PE classes, I forgot to mention this, and I apologize for the weird lights on my hands and my face. It's the sun peeking through my window right there. Anyway, quick backstory, we had 2 lockers in the locker room in the PE class in the school. PE locker room, and the girls' locker room and the boys' locker room had these two. We had big lockers where we could put our backpacks and small lockers where we would put our clothes when we changed into our PE clothes. And when we put on our PE clothes, we would put the lock on the bigger lockers, so then our backpacks wouldn't get taken from the locker. But we didn't have, I don't know why we didn't have another lock for our small lockers, because those had our clothes in, but they just required us to put the locks on the big lockers when we were wearing our PE clothes. I don't know why. It was super weird. So I hope that makes sense. So anyway, I suddenly go back into the office where the PE teacher is, and she starts talking with me and telling me how I had forgotten to put the lock in my locker and she had put it on for me. And then she tells me,
You need to keep the lock on your locker. Blah, 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 blah. That's part of your grade and blah, 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 blah. And it's also a safety issue because if you don't keep your lock on your locker, you could get your stuff taken from that locker and blah, 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 blah.
So once she tells me this, I understand, and I start to realize that I should probably pay attention to when I need to put my lock on my locker. And so I apologized to the PE teacher, and I told her I didn't know I'm still, because at the time, this was like my first year of official year of middle school, because I missed 6th grade because I had to go through chemo. This was my first year of middle school, so I wasn't used to these new rules. So I apologized to the PE teacher who was in charge of the girls' locker room, and I told her, sorry about that. I didn't know the rules. I really appreciate you telling me. And she was very nice about it, explaining to me how I always need to keep my lock on my locker. And she said, just make sure that I always just keep the lock on my locker when I have my backpack in the bigger locker, just because it's part of my grade and I just don't want to get my stuff taken. So she was really nice and everything. So the very next afternoon, I'm so sorry, I cannot talk today. So after PE class was over, I changed into my regular clothes, put my PE clothes in the small locker, take my backpack out, and then put my lock back on my smaller locker, so I could keep my PE clothes safe. And I was glad I remembered to put my lock on my locker that time, because I didn't want to forget and not lose part of my grade for not having my lock on my locker. And I also was happy because it also kept my stuff safe. Not only did it keep my backpack safe, but it also would keep my PE clothes safe for the very next day. So the moral of the story is you should always keep your locks on your locker. No matter what, you should keep your lockers locked at all times, because it is a pretty big safety issue, because some kids go around and take things from lockers when they're not locked, and it's just a really important safety issue, because it keeps your stuff safe, whether you have your backpack in the locker for the day or you have your PE clothes in your locker. You should just always put a lock on it and remember your combination, or if you have a lock with the key, you should always remember to put your lock on it, especially if you're in a hurry to get to your PE class before the bell rings. So just please keep that in mind. Always keep your locks on your locker, or especially when you're at a theme park and you're putting your stuff away, always just keep a lock on the locker, or always keep the locker locked. It's just really, really important. So always just keep your stuff locked in your locker when you're in the locker room at school or anywhere that has a locker. So that was a story about how I accidentally forgot to put my lock on my locker in PE class. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoon sometimes. And I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!
If you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up and tap that subscribe button.